All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to dive in.
Okay, cool. So today, we're going to be looking at AI.
Okay.
And specifically how companies are trying to find that balance between, AI safety and freedom of expression. Kind of a tricky thing.
For sure.
And the jumping off point for our conversation is this really interesting article from, it's a Korean AI news site called AI Times.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it talks about some pretty big changes from OpenAI, the folks who made ChatGPT.
Right, right.
And basically, they're starting to loosen up the restrictions on what ChatGPT can say.
Interesting. So,
yeah, it's kind
of censorship?
Yeah, less censorship, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like kicking the training wheels off.
Yeah.
In a way. It's
I see.
It's a little bit scary, but also kind of exciting.
Yeah.
So, are we at a turning point here?
Yeah, this sounds like a pretty big deal. I mean, OpenAI is like a leader in this field, right?
Totally, yeah. And it's not just like some little tweak. It seems like a pretty fundamental shift in their thinking.
So what have they actually changed, specifically?
Well, they're basically saying they're going to reduce censorship on their AI models, which means those models are going to be able to express a wider range of viewpoints.
Oh, wow.
Even stuff that might be controversial.
Oh.
And, that orange warning box you used to see in ChatGPT.
Yeah, I remember that. If you asked it something,
yeah, something a little sensitive or risky, whatever.
Right.
They're getting rid of that.
Wow.
Which is pretty wild.
That is a bold move. So, I mean, isn't there a chance that the AI could start, saying things that are offensive?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Right.
And it seems like OpenAI is betting on the fact that their AI models are just much more sophisticated now.
I see.
The newer models, they can reason better.
Okay.
They're less likely to hallucinate.
Hallucinate? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's an AI term, basically meaning making stuff up.
Oh, okay.
Creating responses that aren't based on real info.
Right. So they're basically saying that AI's grown up enough that we don't need to, censor it as much.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. But there's another layer here, too. This decision might also be connected to what's happening politically, at least in the U.S.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, the new administration under President Trump, they've been really pushing this whole freedom of speech thing.
Right.
Even for topics that are, kind of sensitive.
Yeah.
So some people are thinking that OpenAI might be feeling some pressure to kind of fall in line with that.
Interesting. So political pressure could be part of the equation here?
Possibly, yeah. But it's not just that. OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, he's actually said publicly that he doesn't think AI should be overly restricted in what it can talk about.
Even if it's about politics?
Yeah, even sensitive political stuff.
Okay.
So it's like they're combining a bunch of different factors here. They've got the AI getting more powerful.
Right.
They've got this political pressure, maybe.
Yeah.
And then also just their own evolving philosophy about how AI should work.
Wow. It's like a perfect storm. So they're trying to find that balance, right? Between giving the AI freedom, but also making sure it's not going to go off the rails.
Exactly.
So what about, the rest of the world? How are other countries reacting to this?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because globally, there's this huge debate going on about how to regulate AI. It's like you've got two camps, right?
Okay.
On one side, you've got the U.S. They're pretty much like, let AI do its thing. If fewer rules, the better.
Right. Like a hands-off approach.
Yeah, exactly. But then on the other side, you've got places like the EU and China. They're much more cautious. They want stricter control.
I see. So it's like let AI bloom versus keep AI on a leash.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And OpenAI's moves can really tip the scales. Towards that let it bloom side. I mean, think about it. ChatGPT has over 350 million users.
That's huge.
So if it becomes the go-to for unfiltered information, other companies might feel like they have to loosen up their own rules just to compete.
Yeah, just keep up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a digital gold rush almost.
That's a great analogy. So what about Korea specifically? How does this impact them?
Well, Korea has some really big tech companies like Naver and Kakao, and they're working on their own chatbots, right?
Right.
But imagine you're a Korean user who's used to using ChatGPT with all its openness, and then you switch to a domestic chatbot that's super censored.
Right. It would be a totally different experience.
It'd be a huge step backward.
Totally.
It'd probably feel really frustrating.
Right. So this could actually push Korean companies to be more open, even if they're, hesitant.
Absolutely. And it's not just about, keeping users happy.
Okay.
It's about the whole debate about what AI should be allowed to do.
Right.
So this whole situation could spark a really big conversation in Korea about where to draw the line between, keeping AI safe and making sure people have access to information.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, how much freedom is too much freedom?
It's a tough question. And, what happens in Korea could easily ripple out to other parts of the world, too.
Exactly. This is a global issue.
Yeah.
And it's way bigger than just one company or one country. It's about how we want to interact with information in the digital age and how we want AI to be a part of that.
It's like, are we ready for a world where AI can tell us anything, even if it's uncomfortable?
Yeah, and who gets to decide what AI can and can't say?
Right.
It's a really big question. But before we get too deep into that, let's take a look at some other companies that are taking different approaches to this whole AI safety thing. Because OpenAI isn't the only one making waves here.
Oh, okay. Like who?
Well, there's a company called DeepSeek. They're doing something really interesting with transparency. And then there's Elon Musk. Of course, he's always got to be in the mix.
Right, right.
And he's got his own AI called Grok 3 that's causing quite a stir.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, it is. So let's dig into those next.
Cool, I'm ready. So OpenAI's, kind of loosening things up. But this other company, DeepSeek, they're going in a totally different direction with AI safety.
DeepSeek, all right. I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, they're all about transparency.
Okay.
So they just released their own large language model, LLM.
LLM.
Yeah, it's think of it like the engine behind those AI chatbots.
Okay.
And they're calling theirs R1.
Okay.
And get this, like just 3 weeks after launch, they decided to open source a new training method.
Wait, open source? Like give it away for free?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Pretty radical, right?
Yeah.
But basically, their method is adding like natural language explanations to the AI's reasoning.
Okay.
Which is something that traditionally, has been done with like complicated code.
Yeah. So instead of just spitting out an answer, their AI can actually explain how it got there.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It is. And the idea is that this makes the AI's thinking way easier to understand, even for people who aren't, tech wizards.
So how does this tie into this whole safety and censorship thing we've been talking about?
Well, it's all about trust,
Okay.
DeepSeek's saying hey, if you can see how our AI is thinking, you're going to be less afraid of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even if it says something you don't agree with.
Right, exactly.
You can at least see how it got there.
Exactly.
So it's not just trying to control what the AI says, it's more about making the process transparent.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And then, to make things even spicier.
Okay, here we go.
We've got Elon Musk jumping into the ring.
Of course he is.
With his new AI, Grok 3.
Grok 3, yeah, the one he's calling the smartest AI on Earth.
Yeah.
I saw that headline.
Yeah, and the hype is definitely real.
Okay.
Grok 3 was trained on a massive data set using something like 100,000 GPUs.
What?
In the world's largest data center.
That's insane.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
My computer would melt trying to run that.
Yeah, mine too, probably.
Okay, so Musk is obviously going head-to-head with ChatGPT here.
Yeah.
But what about content restrictions? Is he following OpenAI's lead and loosening up?
Well, Musk has always been, pretty vocal against censorship. So It wouldn't be surprising if Grok 3 has even fewer restrictions than ChatGPT.
So he's going all in on the unfiltered AI train.
Yeah, he sees AI as a tool for free speech and believes that trying to troll it will just cause more problems.
All right, so we've got OpenAI loosening up, DeepSeek pushing for transparency, and then Elon Musk just hitting the gas on the unfiltered AI.
Yeah, it's getting wild out there.
It does feel like it's becoming a free-for-all.
It really does.
But, and wait, there's more.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, Perplexity AI just threw their hat into the ring.
Okay.
With their new deep research feature.
Perplexity AI, another one.
Yeah, no, it's hard to keep track.
It is, yeah.
So Perplexity, they're known for their AI-powered search engine.
Okay.
And they're really focused on accuracy and comprehensive answers. And this new deep research feature basically takes that to the next level.
Okay.
You can add like super complex questions, and it will give you these detailed responses, all backed up by actual research and sources.
So it's like a super-powered research assistant.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the real kicker.
What's that?
They say their system is way cheaper to run than OpenAI's.
Oh, wow.
Which means they can offer this crazy good feature at a much lower cost.
That's a game changer.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, if they can deliver, the same quality but cheaper, that's going to put some pressure on OpenAI.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we were talking earlier about OpenAI's move and how it might push Korean companies to be more open.
Right.
Where do they stand in all this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Korea has some really strong tech companies, right?
They do. Yeah, their AI researchers are, some of the best.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these, consumer chatbots, the ones that can, compete with ChatGPT's openness. We haven't really seen them jump in yet.
So what do you think? Are they just hesitant, or is there something else going on?
Well, the AI Times article suggests it's, kind of a mix of things. I mean, Korea, like a lot of other countries, they're worried about the potential risks of this really open AI.
Yeah.
Like the spread of misinformation, hate speech, all that.
Yeah, that's a real concern. It's like, how do you balance the potential benefits of OpenAI with the very real risks that come with it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. And it's not just a tech problem, it's a societal problem.
Right. What's considered acceptable in one place might be totally off limits somewhere else.
Exactly.
So where does that leave Korea? Do they ride this wave of OpenAI, or do they try to hold it back?
That's a really big question.
Yeah.
And what's happening right now, it goes way beyond, just code and algorithms. It's like a cultural shift.
Yeah.
This whole, reckoning with how we interact with information in this digital age.
It does feel like we're at a crossroads.
We are. And the path we choose is going to have a huge impact on, how AI shapes our world.
Okay, so let's imagine for a second that Korean companies do decide to, fully embrace this OpenAI thing.
Okay.
What would that look like? What kind of challenges would they have to overcome?
I mean, the first hurdle would be figuring out how to balance that freedom with responsibility.
Right.
It's not just about removing all the filters, right?
Right.
It's about creating a system where you can have those diverse voices, but you're also, putting some safeguards in place to prevent things from going haywire.
Yeah, it sounds super tricky.
It is.
How do you even start to design an AI that can be both open and safe at the same time?
It's a question a lot of people are wrestling with right now.
Yeah.
One thing that seems to be gaining traction is that idea of, transparency and explainability we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, if you as a user can see how the AI is reaching its conclusions, you're more likely to trust it, even if you don't agree with what it's saying.
It's kind of like trust but verifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Just blindly accepting what the AI is telling you. You can actually see how it's thinking.
Exactly. And another big piece of this is user education.
Okay.
People need to understand, both the amazing things AI can do, but also where it falls short.
Yeah.
We need to give them the tools to be able to critically evaluate the information they're getting from AI.
Yeah, just like we do with any other source of information.
Exactly. And that brings us back to this bigger picture, what OpenAI and DeepSeek and Musk and all these companies are doing is really pushing the limits.
Yeah.
They're forcing us to have these really important conversations about, what is censorship, what is safety, and how do we want to interact with information in this digital world.
It's a little bit scary, to be honest.
I get that.
It's exciting, but also kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. But, at the end of the day, AI is a tool, and any tool can be used for good or for bad, and the power is really in the hands of the humans who build it and use it.
So if we kind of zoom out and look at everything we've talked about today, what's the main takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about as they navigate this crazy AI world?
I think the biggest thing is don't just passively consume the information that AI is throwing at you.
Okay.
Be curious, be critical, don't be afraid to question things.
Yeah.
Don't just take the AI's word as gospel.
Right.
Dig a little deeper.
Right.
Look for different perspectives.
Okay.
And form your own opinions.
Be informed, be engaged.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be part of this conversation.
Because this is a conversation that we all need to be a part of, right?
We do, because as AI gets more and more sophisticated, that line between just providing information and actually shaping opinions, it gets blurrier and blurrier.
It does.
So it's more important than ever to be aware, to be discerning, and to really be a part of this discussion about how we want AI to evolve.
That's a great point. Well, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From OpenAI's decision to loosen things up with ChatGPT to these new players like DeepSeek and Grok 3.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
It's clear that the world of AI is changing really fast.
It is.
And as we move forward, I think the big question we all need to think about is, what kind of future do we want to build with AI?
Exactly.
Do we go all in on this openness, even with the risks that might come with it? Or do we try to prioritize safety and control?
Right.
Even if it means limiting AI's potential?
It's a tough question.
It's a really tough question. And there are no easy answers.
There aren't.
But the choices we make now are going to have a big impact on the world we live in tomorrow.
I will.
So that's something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, stay curious.